lots of people plan things for the community, but how do you help facilitate the voice of the community, and particularly with children? So we went to Barclay Elementary, which is a school, this was a couple of years ago, that had a 97% free meal participation. It's in the city, which becomes important. And we asked them, we didn't use the word utopian, but for your audience, that's what we were asking is, what would utopian Baltimore look like? And first we asked them, what would you tear down? And they said, we'll tear down the gun stores and the liquor stores. You know, one quote was like, how many liquor stores does a neighborhood need? We brought in, and then we began to ask them to imagine the city they would love to live in. And we brought in 2 working artists who at the time were taking notes and sketching after they introduced themselves to the kids. And then they went away and painted. And then we brought it back. And that's what the video shows is first the discussion of the kids. I discovered a level of empathy that if any of you listening or watching have middle school kids are not highly empathetic. But these kids said there is somebody there are people who are worse off than we are. That's a quote, that self-awareness. And they began to build in their imaginations the best homeless shelter. You know, it had a barbershop and a beauty parlor and a kitchen and a dining room for communal meals and all kinds of things. And what became an in-joke, and then later they built a bike park. And then for both of them, they talked about green space, which they didn't have. Actually, they have now, and I'd like to think that we're one of the reasons they have now, because right across the street now there's a park. Because we sent the pictures to the city planning office. That was an important part of it. But what the kids began to talk about, someone said a squirrel. Just one. And what's brilliant about that is that you need an ecosystem for a squirrel. Yes. And so you need a tree, and then maybe if you have tree, you need grass. And in all of the paintings for the artists, because one did a triptych, one is a dreamscape and it has a huge squirrel. And in the video, you see the artist saying, there's a squirrel, and the kids all laugh because the squirrel was really important. And then toward the end, the counselor says they didn't know they were urban planning. But they were, because I told them, I'm going to send, we've got good pictures of this, and we're going to send the pictures to the planning office. What I learned, and I think I know a lot about this stuff, right? But I learned that it's really important when your ideas come back in oil, because both artists used oil, and we didn't tell them to use oil. They just decided separately that they were going to do that. And the kids said, this is real art. And they were very honored by the fact that their work came back in real art. The artists were ready to change things, and they said, no, this is perfect. You listened to us.
Beauty at Work is brought to you by Templeton Religion Trust. If you enjoyed this clip, go check out the full episode. And please take a moment to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps get the word out about the show. Thanks, and see you next time.